We're
Oh,
on
it says
air.
live. It says in the corner when we're live. That's kind of cool. Hello and welcome to the Knit Girls, the little things entertain me. I'm Laura, also known as Lala, and we are on episode 310.
Leslie, also known as You Don't Call Me Les, and it's August 8th.
It is. You had a birthday this week, my friend.
I turned 36.
How does 36 feel?
Pretty much the same as 35 felt, mostly with a lot more sweat and packing. But yeah, pretty much the same. I've never been a big person to freak out at ages. I remember my older sister just lost it when she turned 30. But I just
25 has always, like, that was the roughest one that I ever did, was 25. I don't know why. Because I was, like, out of college, I think, and moved to Mississippi. And that kind of blew my mind. Anyway, this is a knitting show, or at least we pretend that it is.
Yeah.
Would you like to go first, my friend, or would you like me to go first?
I can go. It's mostly pretend for me this week when it comes to knitting.
If you were going to pretend knit anything, what would you be pretend knitting?
That Laura Nelkin shawl with the crazy synthesis.
Yes, that's a good one to pretend knit.
Yeah. It's just too involved for my, it like goes in different directions and does crazy things, and like my brain can't handle that right now.
I think that would be a good Olympics project.
Okay, so I am knitting very little. If you have taken a break from the show or you're relatively new, I'm getting ready for a cross-country move.
Yeah.
Hence all of the crazy disarray back here. I've packed maybe 65% of all of my crafting stuff. I'm doing anyway, so that's why it looks crazy. I'm doing a little bit every day, and it's just taking a really long time. First world problems, because basically that just means I have a bunch of crap. So I haven't been knitting a lot. I've been spending a lot of my time packing. And that will not change for probably a month, because I'll be packing and then I'll be unpacking. So there won't be a whole lot for me to show for a little while, but I am working on a few things. So the first is one sock out of Nomadic Yarns. I think this is her Twisty Sport. Yep. And Dobby is a free elf. Sorry, my lighting is all kinds of screwed. I don't know why.
You took away all the things that absorb light from behind you,
and
now you're getting reflective properties.
Yeah, all this white is just blowing the lights mud. I don't know. The light in the new place will be, well, the old place, I guess, will be better. And if it sucks, then we'll record Laura's until I get it figured out. So
yeah.
Anyway,
there is that option, because we'll be together.
This is one. Vanilla is the new black. This is in her sport weight base. This is a pattern.
And it's the sport weight version of the pattern.
Yes.
Correct.
I knit it in the fingering weight numbers first, and it was about bulletproof. And so we switched. This is by Shanghai Lily. That's the designer. Or maybe, I don't know. Anna Fletcher is her name, but maybe yes. Shanghai Lily is like her design handle or something. I don't know.
Cool.
Anyhow, so they're meant to be reversible when you finish them, which is kind of cool. So I finished the first one, I don't know, last night or the night before. I made Michael sit down and watch Central Intelligence with me because it was really funny when I saw it. And he rarely watches movies, so I made him. So I finished the first one. I need to put that back in my bag, actually, so I can use it as a measuring stick for number 2.
Always good.
And I've still got another gray section to go before I start the stockinette. I did a long ribbing on this one. And that's it. That's all I've been knitting on. I haven't touched stripe study since last week. I do have a little bit of spinning, but I'll talk about that later.
Okay.
And that's my crafting.
That's it.
I touched a lot of yarn this week. but
that's always good though. It's always good to
could
see what's
I
in the
with
stash.
like if I handle more than 1,000 meters of yards, does that count? Because I would have like done several triathlons by this point, you know.
Yeah. Unfortunately, no, that does not count.
This is why I don't make the rules for stash because that would totally count.
Because stash will be over in like 5 days for everyone.
5 minutes at our houses.
That's true too. All right, I am knitting on 2 things. The first is a brand new project that y'all haven't seen yet. I just cast done yesterday, and it is very wee and tiny, but this is the Flux Light. Oh, look, I'm presenting to everyone. And this is a pattern by, it's pooled really badly up there, but that's okay. It's a pattern by TheKnitGirlls. Yep, it's the fingering weight version of Flux. After we talked about Flux last week, I decided to cast one on. I have a coworker who is pregnant and due in October. She's having a little baby girl. She already has a 4 to 5 year old boy. And this is Marigold Jen in the October colorway. It is some deep stash, and I absolutely love it. And I was like, why am I not knitting with this? So this is Marigold Jen. She's pretty awesome. This is her sock weight yarn. It's a superwash merino nylon cashmere blend. Actually, yeah, it does say superwash. I was like, it doesn't say superwash at the top. It is 435 yards in the October. Her stuff's so well priced too. I got this at Maryland at least 3 years ago, I would say. At least.
Yeah, Jen hasn't been dying that long, so.
She's been dying, I bet you, 5 years.
I don't know. That would be the outside number, I would think.
I would think maybe, but I don't know. Now I want to know.
Okay.
So I'm really enjoying the yarn. It's nice. This is my Olympic knitting. So I am right at, I've finished the increases. It is a top-down raglan. So I finished the increases here. And you knit until it gets to 5.5 inches, and then you separate for the sleeves. So that is what I'm doing now. I'm doing the smallest size, which is a 0 to 6 month size, just because I live in Mississippi. And even though it's fingering weight, if I do the next size up, which is 6 to 12 months, that would be like the warm months of the year. Mm-hmm. That would be like, let's see, October to November, November to December, January, February, March, April. So then we're getting into like May to October, and no baby in Mississippi needs a sweater.
No human.
A long sleeve sweater from May to October. So I'm doing the 0 to 6 month size. It only calls for 300 and some yards. So that is nice because I'm not going to use, I'm going to pull up the pattern right now on my laptop. Maybe not. I'm not going to use the whole
open extra windows on that.
I know. I'm a little bit concerned. I have the Rav page up. Yeah, so 350 yards for the smallest size. It calls for size 2 and 5 needles. I used 2 for the ribbing and then 4s because I tend to knit pretty loose. And I'm not doing a gauge swatch because I like to live life on the edge. I will, once I divide for the sleeves, I'll because you go to 5.5 inches regardless this way. So once I divide for the sleeves, I'll double check with our cool swatch thing that we got from Aiden of Acreworks, which I will show people next week. And I'll check my gauge and make sure that it's fairly accurate. This seems pretty loose too. I don't want to go up much looser than this as well. So it might be more of the 0 to 3 month size, but we'll see. Or it might be even larger. Who knows? My life is in a gauge for me right now is in a flexible thing.
A state of flux.
Kind of fun. Yes. There you go. Thank you. So this is the first thing on my needles. The second thing that got very little work is I did finish my first Fish Lips Kiss Heel sock out of Nomadic Yarns in the McGonagall colorway. So you and I are both rocking Nomadic Yarns in one of her Harry Potter colorways. So that's really fun. So the first one is done. It's got a Fish Lips Kiss heel, which is nice. Oh, I should say with the Flax Light, I'm not doing the garter stitch detailing on the sleeves. I'm just knitting it straight because I'm lazy. So just finished the ribbing on this and cast on so much on the second sock. But I totally lost my mojo this week. So it doesn't seem like it, but the first week of school for me is always like pretty stressful. I've been averaging like the 11,000 to 15 to 16,000 step count a day. Because I'm just everywhere. I'm giving textbooks out, and I just want to, when I get home, kind of like chill. Yeah. But now the Olympics are on, and I was catching myself chilling and not doing anything, but just watching the Olympics. And I was like, my hands aren't moving. It feels weird when when you're so used to like constant motion, and you're just like.
Yeah, I feel guilty if I'm watching TV and I'm not doing something.
Any crafting. And that's what I was like, I feel super guilty by just sitting here and chilling like 99% of Americans do.
I just pulled the gray hair out of my knitting sock.
That's amazing.
That's awesome.
So I cast on the Flux light after I cast on a baby hat that I'll show you for finished objects to try to get over that mojo hump. I'll be interested to see... So if you want people who actually view the show, and not just Leslie and I, how do you get over your lack of mojo? Like when you have a total lack of mojo, how do you get over that hump? And you can put that in our Ravelry group, because I'm curious as to how other people get over it. For me, it tends to be casting on all the things. Like even if I have other deadline stuff to do, which I totally am working on another design that I can't show y'all yet, like I'm totally I cast on all these new things.
I just like to go and play in my yarn, like touch it all again and remember where I bought it. And think, when I bought this, I was going to do X, Y, Z, but maybe it would be better for ABC, you know.
I used to just go and wind my yarn into cakes. It was amazing. I can't do that anymore because I'll never get... I still have some of those cakes I wound like 6 years ago, which is terrible. It kind of stretches out your yarn a little bit. But it stretches it out, and then when you wash it, it goes back in, and you're like, what happened? I have two finished objects. They're both by Woolly Wormhead. So it's two hats. This is an 18-inch size. This is Rocketeer.
Oh.
It is out of Lorna's Laces, and I'm trying to remember the Lorna's Laces Cloudgate, which is a bulky. It's also a cable ply yarn. So what I mean by that is it's got two plies that are plied together in one direction, and there were 3 of those, and then all of those were plied together, and I wish I still had an end out.
I have some.
In the opposite direction.
I'll mock something up. No, but I can create some.
Oh, look at you. You're so fancy.
I am. I don't know what to do with myself. I'm so fancy. So cable ply would be like...
Those two plied together.
Right. So I'm adding a little bit of twist here. These two plied together, and then these two plied together.
Both in the same direction.
These would be, 4 individual plies, 2 plies on the gray, and then 2 plies on the blue.
Yeah.
And then you would ply it together.
The opposite direction.
Oh.
Yes. Good job. So it makes for an interesting yarn that's got lots of definition.
I have to talk so that it can keep singing, so I'm just showing. Okay. Go ahead. I'm not used to this format.
We're not used to this format, and Leslie and I tend to talk pretty... I don't know if we talk equally or if I just talk over you a lot unintentionally.
And people have sort of... I would say there's a small number of people who have mentioned things like that over the years, and Laura just talks more. Like, I just naturally prefer to sit back and pipe in my witty, smart-ass comments, and Laura just naturally talks more. It's not like she's not abusing me. I'm not a battered person or anything.
I couldn't. You're too far away. Now, when you move back, that dynamic might change.
I'll stick my 13-year-old son on you.
He and I hung out this weekend. It was chill. I also think, like, when we were recording together, it was easier. There's all these nonverbal cues that people give each other when you're together that say, oh, she's going to talk. I should close my mouth. I did have to tell my new assistant principals, though, I am super bossy. And if I'm bossing them around, to just call me on it. And so I was telling my sister that, and she's like, that's some of the feedback that I got. So, yay. Anyway, this is a cable ply yarn. I find they can be a little bit splitty depending on, because you're adding so much twist and then untwisting it and then twisting again. They can be a little bit splitty. It's not terrible, but it also creates, I feel like, a denser yarn. Like this has tons of drape. Like it will not stand up straight by itself. It just, the cool thing about this hat, this is Racketeer by Woolly Wormhead, is it's knit sideways with short rows. So you're knitting that way in wedges, which I thought was super duper cool. It's 3 wedges knit sideways. And then, are you ready for what I did? I Kitchenered in garter stitch.
Wow. You just leveled up, my friend.
It sounds super impressive, and basically you just do the same on the front needle as you do on the back needle. So it makes it sound like, I actually think doing the stockinette garter stitch is a heck of a lot harder.
The stockinette garter stitch?
Oh, the stockinette Kitchener stitch is a lot harder than the garter. But I felt like I was so
It is
clever.
harder in the garter.
Ha ha ha. But I felt so clever, and I think it's super cute. It was meant for Nick, which is Becca's oldest child, but he is a 22-inch head, and I cast it on before I realized that he is a 22-inch man head. So this will be for the baby when it gets to like toddler sized. So that's an awesome present that will be waiting for the baby to get big for a while, which is pretty cool too. And then for the baby, when he's...
She could use it as a cocoon until then.
I suppose that's one option. And then on the 3 to 6 month size, I did 2B, which is one of my favorite hats. And it looks so much cuter on than it does when I'm just playing with it. Like now it just looks flat and weird. But on a baby, it is the cutest hat ever. It is also a woolly wormhead pattern. You cast on and you alternate stockinette and reverse stockinette sections. And it's cool because it grows really well with a kid, because when they're little, you can scrunch it up. Like it naturally wants to scrunch up and sit. See, totally different drape than that other thing. It's just sitting up, chilling. This is my hand spun. It's a 2-ply. And so totally different drape, but also like it just wants to sit up. And but then when you put it on a head, if you want to scrunch it so it's longer, it grows better. It's very cool. It's one of my favorite patterns. It's a great gift pattern. This one has a 3-needle bind off at the top, which I love because it gives this, and I do it just with it. Usually when you do 3-needle bind off, you flip it inside out and do it. I just do on this so that it'll stick up even straighter. I just do it like it is. This is hand spun. This is hand spun that I spun out of Southern Cross Fibers Superwash Merino in the Puppy Dog Tails colorway. This is leftovers from a vest I knit for Jamie. I just love it. And I only have like 5 inches of it left now, which was perfect. I could not have planned this better. So this is going for this winter because this baby is a Chicago baby. So it will actually wear like winter things through April.
Yeah.
And probably starting in September. So I just love it. It's so much fun. David does good dyeing. And I love knitting with his stuff. And I need to knit with hand spun more often. So those 2 baby hats are my finished objects for this week. That's it. But you have spinning.
I do.
So I want to hear about it.
So I did spin some this week. I actually finished a braid. I pushed myself to finish a braid, partly because I worked from home 2 days this week, and I did take a whole hour of my work day and actually spun. So that helped.
Wow, that's pretty awesome.
So this is Three Waters Farm. This is a Polworth silk. My lighting sucks. I'm sorry. In the Antique Portrait colorway. And I was using that same technique that I talked about learning at SSK, and it worked well. It didn't work quite as well on this fiber because it was a Polworth silk rather than the carded fleece, which was super open already. where this was a top. So it was somewhat compacted as tops naturally are, nothing to do with Three Waters Farm, quality. It's just as a top it naturally is more compacted.
Yeah, it's all the fibers are going in the same direction.
Right.
So when they line up exactly like that, it tends to be more compact than when they're all jumbled.
So I did, and I wanted to get, I wanted to be blown away by how amazing I was, right? Well, I didn't quite get that result, but I'm still happy with what I got. So I did a 3-ply, and I spun it all on the flat iron and then plied it on the mini because there's bigger bobbins. And then I ran it back through the mini again to add more twist because it didn't quite have the twist I wanted. So I ended up with
ply tightly.
I'm going to change myself to the presenter for just a second. Yeah, I don't ply very tightly. So I ended up getting 326 yards of a 3-ply, which
gorgeous.
is about 100 yards better than I've ever gotten out of 4 ounces anyway.
Oh, it was a 3-ply?
Yeah, it's a 3-ply.
That's awesome.
So for me, that's very good. I don't usually get that kind of number. I am still going to, I've got a bunch of fleeces that have already been washed and carded and everything that are in my bedroom closet in these giant Ziploc bags. That's how I keep them because I'm fancy. But also fancy because they're bug proof. And so I'm going to just spin on some fiber as I pack and take breaks and things. It'll give me something to look forward to.
Which fiber are you going to go for?
I don't know. I'm going to take myself off presenter now. I've got the merino cross that we did.
That I just washed, yeah.
Yeah. And then I've got some samplers that I got from a place that Beth Smith used to run. Spinning Loft. And I've also got a fleece that's Cordale, which I really enjoy spinning and might lend itself to pin spinning. So I'm going to sample out a couple.
Yeah, do it. Are you going to spin for like a sweaters lot slowly, or do you have...
I don't know. I might just take one of the like 8-ounce bits that I got from Spinning Loft because they've already been washed already. They do need to be flick carded or drum carded, and since they're smaller, they're less investment, so I can just do a 3-ply and just see what I get.
Yeah, definitely.
But that is it. This was all spun, like I said, on the flat iron, and then I applied it on the Hanson e-spinner, mini spinner, whatever it's called.
Cool. So Leslie and I have several wheels off at a spa, which would be my mom's house.
Yes.
One of those wheels is Leslie's
Infinite Twist Acadia
wheel. And before it left my house to go to SSK, I'd started spinning on it during the tour. And I had started spinning some fiber from Knit Spin Farm, which if you have not watched that podcast, A, baby sheep and baby goats, you don't know what you're missing. B, Joanna is a delight. She is Joanna-licious, and we enjoy her immensely. So this is some of her bats. I'm saying a lot. I'm sorry. They are awesome. Let me show you the bats. So I wanted something that I basically could not mess up, because when you get a new wheel, there's always kind of a curve. And for me, sometimes the curve can be very, very steep. So these are the bats, Knit Spin Farm. And they are in the pastoral colorway. They are 3.5 ounces total. They are Falkland Merino, Polwar, Sari Silk, Shetland, and Silk. And they look like this. They're very pretty with bits and bobs. So I wanted something that was pretty foolproof. And so I spun the first half on Leslie's Acadia, and then I'm going to spin the next half on probably my Lendrum. I do have one of her other bat sets on the Ladybug right now, but they were bigger bats. So I haven't decided. They're pink. I haven't decided how I'm going to ply them yet. They're pink with some gray mixed in. So I have the option of spinning some natural gray, either fleece or some top from Gail's art that I've purchased in a merino, and plying those as a 2-ply, which I like the idea of better than chain plying. With chain plying, all your inconsistencies are multiplied because you're plying them back on themselves.
It's less forgiving than a traditional 3-ply.
It is less forgiving, and I don't necessarily want a 3-ply to begin with. And I did not spin these super well. So this was the first, I was really trying, I had removed quite a bit of fiber that had been wrapped around the drive shaft on the Ladybug. And I wanted to make sure that the wheel itself was still functioning like it should. So I was testing it out basically. And I have probably 2 ounces of those done. And now I'm almost out of her bats. I have 1 more bat by her, and that's it.
Oh, I've still got probably half a dozen.
I am going to have to make her make more bats, crack my whip, and then purchase them from her. She also has super cute note cards in her shop because she takes great pictures of all her animals.
Yep.
So those are lots of fun. Anyway, what is up next on my wheel is this month's Patreon prize, which will be Get Happy. It is pinks and oranges and blues, and it is very happy. It's a new to me blend that I've never spun before. It is 75% bond and 25% Surrey alpaca. When we draw for this, if the person who wins it is allergic to alpaca, we'll just bump this to the next month, and I'll spin something else for them. But that is about it for me and spinning. Do you have anything else to add to the spinning discussion?
No.
Leslie and I will not be doing book reviews until after she moves. She's packed up her books, and it just makes more sense. We don't have any digital books to review right now, and it doesn't make sense to keep her from packing stuff to do a book review. So, and we are kind of low on books to review right now. We have
it's not the season for books to come out. Like typically, it's
like
spring and fall are big seasons.
Yeah, October and then spring are typically the big seasons. So we will have some new books coming to us in the fall for sure. We do have at least one interweave book to review, and actually we have 2, and then we have the Little Book of Cables to review as well. So that'll be fun. We're gonna wait. Also, now that Leslie's moving back, we can review books that we might only have bought ourselves one copy of, and that allows a little bit more flexibility with that, which is gonna be amazing.
Yeah.
We do have a question though from Scrap Fair, who has her own lovely podcast.
Cool.
And we met her at Maryland Sheep and Wool. She walked us out to the car when we were making one of our many trips out to the car. She says that lovely Barbara pooled yarn. I think what she's talking about is Feederbrook Farms, because I think she's talking about commercial yarn in this, because she says, what kinds of things to showcase it? I have some that I purchased last fall that I'd like to knit up, but I don't know what to knit with it. My default, anytime I get a commercial yarn that I don't know how to knit it up, is I go to the Ravelry page for that yarn, and I look at other projects that people have completed out of that yarn, and I say, oh, that looks awesome, or maybe
I don't like the way it pools in a particular gauge.
Yeah, maybe that yarn choice is too busy for the pattern choice. So what I find works best is there's this rule of thumb that you can totally ignore anytime you want. But the busier the yarn, and Barbara Pool yarn is fairly busy, the better, the simpler the pattern should be, and that will show it off best.
I was going to say, if you're talking about something like that the Feederbrook Farm that's got the several different plies, several different colors in the ply, I would sort of treat it kind of like a hand spun, in that, in my opinion, if it's really busy, go simple. Do a garter stitch like a hitchhiker, or a Quaker yarn stretcher, or the simpler the better. when it's super busy like that. While I think it's great that people take chances and do some really like what I would consider daring things and knitting like lace in a highly variegate yarn or something like that. I just feel like I would end up being disappointed by the result. Even if other people loved it, I don't know that I would. So I would just say simple garter stitch something, at least for a swatch, right? And just see how it looks.
The Feederbrook farm, the way that's dyed is there are certain yarns, even commercial yarns, that are dyed in the roving. Noro is another example.
Dyed in the fleece?
Yeah, like dyed as the fleece in the roving and then spun.
Yeah.
Whereas when you think of most 99% of commercially dyed yarns are dyed as yarn afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
But Feederbrook and Noro and some Jill Draper, her Riften base, I think, is all dyed in the wool. And you can definitely tell that. And it makes spin cycle wools are as well, spin cycle yarns. So it makes for a really, really interesting, cool
effect
to the yarn. Yeah, definitely. Anyway, I hope that helped. I don't know that it did.
Yeah, I mean, but both of us are like, do something simple.
But there are lots of there's a hand spun tab under the pattern search. There's a tab that says hand spun, and you can click on there and you can look through some of the patterns. Also, if you're looking for a specific pattern, say like Age of Brass and Steam, when you click on that at the very bottom, when you click on projects, it'll tell you how many are done out of hand spun. And and then you can click on those. For example, like with this, the Flux Light, there were 3 or 4 hand spun projects that were absolutely stunning. So I had clicked over onto that because I wanted to see.
That's a cool idea.
It's Ravelry is amazing. Did you see the new feature on Ravelry? So when you hot link someone in a post, it sends you that PM, right? Now it sends you a screenshot of the post.
That's cool.
Isn't that cool? So like you don't actually have to go to that.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen that because my Ravelry messages are in the 430 range right now. So if you need me, please don't Ravelry message me. Please email me. You don't call me Les at Gmail or Leslie at TheKnitGirlls, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was a cool new feature that and it won't work, obviously, if you I get my PMs forwarded to my emails and it doesn't show up there. You have to actually be on the Ravelry site. All right, so I've been reading the new book in the Nice Dragons Finished Last series. It's the 3rd in the series by Rachel Aaron. I love that series a lot. It's got a lot of humor to it. I really like some of her other sci-fi and fantasy series as well, so I've been waiting for this one for quite a long time, and I'm super excited that it finally came out last week. So I'm like a chapter in because life, but I love that series. It's got a lot of humor to it. If you like Alana Andrews type stuff, I definitely recommend Rachel Aaron as an author as well.
I've read the first one. I don't think I've read the second one.
Oh, I think the second one's even better than, I don't know. They're all very good. Let me put it that way. I like her Eli Moon Press ones as well, are very good. And she's got this is out of the Heartstrikers series. She's also got a series that's sci-fi that I think you would immensely enjoy. So you should check them out. Or you can just borrow my Kindle when you move back. But I only loan it out for 15-minute intervals, and then it comes back to me.
I think we might need a better system of that.
Mine. That's like the one thing that I'm super possessive about is my Kindle. Like I will give you my laptop. I will give you of all my electronic devices, that is the one that I am most attached to in a like fanatical, almost crazy obsessive way. Like I took it to work with me today to read during lunch. Like I got lunch, but like I probably checked on it in my bag every hour on the hour. I would much rather my kids steal my cell phone than my Kindle. I'm weird. Anyway.
I read on my cell phone sometimes, so I would rather they steal my Kindle. But
yeah, there's a definite price difference between my iPhone and my Kindle. But I love my Kindle so much. Anyway. What are
I
you
almost
reading, my
feel
friend?
like my Kindle has become the equivalent of what, okay, an adult topic here, if there are young ears. I almost feel like it's become the equivalent of what some guys like their porn stash. Like, if I die, please delete everything on my Kindle before my husband gets to it. You know, like, that's just something that, yeah. Anyway, on that note,
On that note,
I'm listening to the Cage series, which is a romance series by Maris Black. Yes, dear. It's in my bag upstairs. It's yeah, I mean, you might bring it down here for me to sign into Safe Boot. Sorry, my husband's doing something. Cage series by Maris Black. That is a male romance about an MMA fighter. And then I'm also listening to Hidden Relic, which is totally on the other end of the spectrum, is a fantasy sort of political kind of thing, but it's not too, it's easy to stop and start. Like some fantasy and sci-fi that I've read, it's like this, immense world building, and every problem takes 2 hours to talk about, and it's not like that. It's pretty good, kind of light reading. And then I've read The Magpie Lord, which was kind of a paranormal. It was really interesting. It was set in like the late 1800s, and it was this guy who like breaks curses and stuff, and that was kind of interesting.
I'll have to check that one out.
And then I read a book called The Music of the Spheres, which was listed as a male romance, and it is, but only in like a tiny way. But it was one that, like, I was reading it and just cry, just tears, just down my face. And it had nothing to do with the romance part of it, but it was very good. Like, it really hit me in the feels. But yeah, so that's what I have been reading and am listening to right now.
Okay. I totally just got off the show notes because I clicked on the Magpie Lord. Okay. Stash Dash is going on. You would not know that we had already done 309 episodes. I promise you. It is going on for another 2 weeks because it lasts as long as the Olympics.
Yeah.
So that's cool. So you can get your, I'm not going to hit my 15K.
Michael says that my laptop looks like it has nipples on it. I don't think. No, it don't.
It's got the labyrinth, guys.
It's the knockers. This is the way they're.
Yeah.
Oh, you're saying if I do it like this, it looks like nipples? Okay. Well, I don't know about that. What do you need my laptop for?
Because I'm chatting with Verizon on my laptop, and they want me to test the connection.
Oh, well, they're not super helpful. Don't you have like a tablet and a work computer?
I need a wired connection.
Hey, Michael.
He can't hear you. What else are we talking about? SSK.
So
I packed all my stuff.
Okay.
For my SSK, so I can't show it.
We will show it as we knit it. How about that? As we craft it, and when we get back, for sure. I am making an effort. I'm making an effort this year to really. Every year I say that I'm going to get through the SSK stash, but I didn't buy that much this year, so I'm totally
good. You can do it for both of us. 'Cause I did.
I totally want to get through that. We have Stash Dash prizes that I want to show. So we have this gorgeous yarn from Cheeky Garden, and this is for anyone who who meets their Stash Dash goal and follows the criteria for posting for Stash Dash is eligible for these. So this is from Cheeky Garden. It's gorgeous. There's a bag from her small wedge bag from Nico Zuki Knits. There's actually 2 of those.
Yeah, she gave us some for SSK prizes too. They were great.
Yep. There is a gorgeous skein of yarn from Stranded Dye Works in the Fun Fair colorway. Y'all are lucky that I have not stolen this yet.
I totally have one of those.
So pretty. Her stuff, and she does a great podcast as well. Amy Florence, lovely stuff. And then Sarah's Cotton Patch sent this
super adorbs.
So cute. And like there's pockets, and you see there's pockets on both sides. Super cute. Anyway, that's great for like if you have a project that needs more than one needle, you can stick the other one in its packaging, and that's perfect. Anyway, so those are our prizes. We also still have our knit along spin along going on. I need to get started on that That's on my to-do list as well, because I cannot wait to do that, to spin this gorgeous fiber from Ross Farms. And
Freddie loves the Knit Girls.
Yes, it's so pretty, and it's a luster long wool, which is super cool. And I think I've only spun that once before, so I'm super excited about that. I will be teaching at House of Yarn in September 17th to be exact. I will be doing a class on afterthought heels, which means I need to knit more samples, because I hadn't taught that class in like a year, so I've been wearing my samples. So I have to go back. Gross. Well, I'm not gonna show people socks that I've worn, so I have to go back. And actually, Susan B. Anderson came out with a new afterthought heel that I want to add to it.
Yeah, I want to try that one too.
I just want to try it and say this is how this one works. So that's super cool as well. And I'm also doing my class that's all like different fiber composition and twist, and how that changes your finished project. So that's that is my favorite class to teach, and I'm super excited. There's also some there's a yarn festival going in Nashville that day too.
Oh really?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember her name. Anyway, more details on that. I won't be able to go because I'm teaching, but if you come with me, then you can go to that and then come back to house, which would be fun as well. I'll be at SAF. I'm taking a class with Beth Smith. Leslie will be with me.
Sorry, my cats are like, I've got yarn and stuff in like big IKEA bags. Like I've got it in a Ziploc, and then Ziplocs in the IKEA bag, and my cats are like, "Ooh, it's playtime."
So you're throwing stuff at them?
Yes, because that solves all the world's problems.
So I'll be at SAF, and Leslie will be at SAF.
Yes, I should be.
And it'll be a good time. It's the end of October, so if you're not, you should be around.
I should be, as long as I'm not on call, because I go on call sometime in September for the first time on this new department, so we'll see. I don't know what my schedule will be yet.
You can sit with Wheezy at their house and just come with me. I already took the day off of work. It was the first at my work. Only 2 people can take a day off on a day, and only 2 people can take the same day off. And so I made sure I'm the only one on that day right now. And then Patreon. We'll do the drawing for Patreon next week. We didn't. We forgot to upload the episodes to Patreon last month, so no one was charged for Patreon, but we still will draw for last month's prizes.
And I did put them up. So this month, instead of, if you're a Patreon subscriber, pledger, or whatever you want to call it, one of our patrons on Patreon, I did put up our 2 episodes from July for this month. So if you're a subscriber, then this month you'll have 6 episodes instead of 4.
So if you don't want 6 episodes,
you can go into your profile in Patreon, and you can edit it to say no more than X dollars per month, or whatever your normal 4 times the number of episodes. You can say no more than this much a month, and that's completely and totally fine with us. We're not trying to like snag anybody's hard-earned money. No. I just wanted to have a complete anthology on the Patreon site. So
so thank you all of our Patreon people, and we will draw for that next week. I think we should give away for the yarn one of the SSK special.
Ooh, that would be fun. Ones. Yeah,
I think that'll be super fun.
Did those go home
so we'll
with
do
you?
That. Yes.
Okay, good.
We have 2 extras.
Sweet. Okay.
So we could actually do it twice if we wanted, or I could knit knee-high socks. So if you're not, I actually have some a mini skein right here. So our colorway for SSK was this cute little colorway, and the black and white actually like zebra stripe where they pool. It's very cool. Mm-hmm. So Eloise is actually knitting them right now, which is super fun. I get to see them at knit night. Yeah, I think she's afraid to go up into her stash room, so those were easily accessible. We are going to discuss Portland right now, so if you are not interested in Portland's, we will
Portland retreat, not necessarily Portland the city, and Portland, Oregon, not Portland, Maine.
Yeah, we will see you all next time. So Portland, Oregon. we are doing a retreat there. It is called the Spring Knit Together Portland, or SKP for short.
Mm-hmm.
It will be from the dates of 3/16, so that's Thursday, through so March 16th.
Yes, in the afternoon / early evening is when check-in will be.
Through 3/19, which is like a morning checkout. Yeah. So Thursday, there will be a check-in and there will be a welcome reception. Friday, there will be 2 sessions of classes and a fashion show and games in the afternoon. Saturday, there will be 2 sessions of classes and a lecture by Joji and Vera. So our teachers are Joji Locatelli and Vera Velamaki. Yes, I said it correctly. I should get a gold star right here.
Right there.
And then in that evening, they'll be doing a lecture about their design process and their cooperative work that they do together to
and it'll be they'll have just put out their 4th edition of oh my god, the collection they do every spring.
I know, hold on, I'll think of it in a second. Oh no,
interpretations.
Yes, thank you.
I was like, I know it's a verb or something. God, what is it? Sorry.
Yeah. I almost corrected you on the verbness of that, but I'm going to let it go.
It's hot and sweaty under these lights. Hush your face.
So we'll do a lecture and then we'll have the ending ceremony, and then Sunday will be a breakfast and depart. What the total cost of this will be $525. We have room for 35 people. We have 35 available spots. Items included in the cost are 2 classes. So you'll get 2 classes.
Okay.
And then it can be 2 with Joji, 2 with Vera, or 1 with each, whatever combination you want to do. The goodie bag, breakfast and lunch on Friday and Saturday, and snacks on Thursday evening. Fun activities such as the fashion show and knitting trivia. Lecture from Joji and Vera, and then we are each going to teach at least 1 breakout session. So a breakout with me and a breakout with Leslie, and we might flip-flop the people because 35, that's like 17. Just flip them.
And we're considering a yarn crawl, but that'll be an add-on, like an a la carte thing, and more details on that to follow.
And that would be Wednesday. Right. We want to see with this how many locals we get versus people from out of town, because if it's all local people, y'all would have cars, and there's no sense in us probably renting a bus to do a yarn crawl, but and it would be an additional cost. But I need to put my pen down and stop doodling. But if it's a lot of out of town people, or 50-50, it might,
might be worth it. Yeah,
it might be worth it. So we're gonna see how the odds fall. So it is a lottery based system. We are anticipating, hopefully, more than 35 people signing up.
Based on the number of people who've stopped us at events or messaged us about the Portland event or whatever, we're expecting that we will have more people that want to come than the number of spots we have available.
It will be a lottery system. So you put in your name, just like SSK, and the random number generator will pick people. It is a random number generator. I can't trust my children with numbers anymore.
For those of you who have been to SSK, which is our summer event in Nashville, Tennessee, it's a very different environment. So first of all, it's Portland, so it's unlikely that it will be in the high 90s with 90% humidity. Don't want to say impossible.
You never know with
highly
Portland.
Unlikely.
It's in March too, so it could go very cool, which might be perfect.
When we went, it was like 60s and beautiful every day, but it's also known to be kind of rainy and crummy and cold. So I can't promise any sort of weather. There will be weather, but I can't tell you what it'll be. And also environment-wise, it's very different. Scarrett Bennett, which is where we hold our SSK event in the summer, is on what used to be a theological seminary so there's no alcohol allowed. It's sort of a basic, sort of a bare bones dorm style setting. And then the event center in Portland is very different.
Yes.
There's a brewery on site. There's
there's a
several
cigar bar.
Yeah, restaurants. The food is amazing. Which
The
is
food
also
at SSK, is also amazing. There's a pool. There's a movie theater. It's lots and lots of fun. And it's at the Kennedy School. What is not included is there's no room or there's no lodging included in this price. So lodging is on your own.
If you're local is great. If you're not local, there is lodging on site. We're just not including that in our price. That's something you can work out directly with the center. You maybe you have a Groupon or something. I don't know. It's the Kennedy Center.
And if the Kennedy Center is not within the price range of what you would want to pay for a hotel, there are other hotels in the area as well.
Yeah. But it's a very fun and trendy area. Lots of great yarn shops. That's the reason we're not going to do a market. One, because it's a really small event. But two, Portland is just swimming in great yarn shops.
There's 20 yarn shops in Portland.
And, we would rather show our support by having people, go and visit the local shops there. I have no doubt that we'll have some people willing to make a field trip if we end up not doing a bus.
Yeah, that would not surprise me at all.
So sign-ups for the lottery will be on the TheKnitGirlls. They're up now on the TheKnitGirlls website, TheKnitGirlls with 3Ls.com. In the header across the top, there's a clickable link that says SKP 2017 lottery, and you click that link and it tells you all the information about the event. Actually, I need to put in the cost because it's not in there. And then there's a little form that you fill out that just gives us your first and last name, your email address, and your Ravelry name. If for some reason your email address doesn't work to contact you, we'll use your Ravelry name to do that.
Yep.
We'll leave this open for how long?
Let's do, today is the 8th. Let's do, I'm still on March from earlier today. Let's do, so just talking about upcoming dates. We will record this coming weekend, which will be the 14th. And then Leslie moves the following weekend.
Right, so we won't record the weekend of the 21st.
So let's go ahead and try to close these. I like the 25th. That seems like a nice even date.
Okay. That's actually my first day back to work after I moved, so that's good.
Awesome.
Total cost is $525 and entries will be I'm sorry about the typing noise, but if I don't do it now, it's not going to happen until 8:25 at around noon Central Time. I expect most
and we will
people
try to
want to get in will be put their name in quickly. So
yeah, and we're gonna try to close that and draw fairly quickly because we will do SSK signups within like 2 weeks after that.
Yeah,
so we want people
a little bit of overlap actually.
Yeah, we want to make sure that people who want to attend just one of those events, that they know whether or not they've gotten into Portland before, if that makes sense. And of course, with Portland, there'll be a wait list just like there is with SSK.
Yes.
So even if you don't get in, I would say with SSK around 50 people. So SSK is 150 people, and like right off the bat, 50 people are like, oh, I just tried to get off work.
Yeah.
Even before the deposits due.
Yeah, life happens, and we know that, and we don't hold it against anybody, even if they have to drop like immediately before the event. That reminds me, I have a couple people who are due partial refunds for SSK.
So on other things, it will be a payment schedule just like SSK is. So not all $525 will be due at once. There'll be $100 non-refundable deposit, and then like 200
is 200 with the notification of whether or not you got in. If you did get in, we'll include the payment schedule in there. So And if that just doesn't work for you, then you can email me and we can discuss it. Or if it's just you end up your car explodes and you have to buy a new one and the finances just aren't there, you should never feel bad about telling us that something came up and you can't do it. Like, it's your life and you don't owe us crap. So
yeah,
you do what's best for you.
We typically find people pretty quickly.
Yeah.
I will say, though, if you know that you are not going to be able to go, don't put your name in the lottery, because it just clutters up our inboxes, and it makes it a little bit harder to get through.
Yeah, and entries aren't transferable. So if you get in and you can't go, but your mom wants to go, it's not fair to other people. I can't do it that way.
Yep. I think that's about it for Portland. If you have any questions about Portland, which I'm sure
we left out really important. Like, last time we left out like what month it was in, or once we left out the general idea of the cost. Like, we're both
Oregon
a little frazzled at the
versus
moment.
Maine.
Yeah. What state is it
in? Which I would love to do a retreat in Portland, Maine, but there are some amazing retreats already in Maine.
Yeah.
So anyway, lots and lots of fun. I'm sure we've forgotten something. Please ask us.
Because if you're wondering it, and there's probably 1,000 other people going, man, they should have said XYZ. I don't know what the crap they're talking about.
Yep, for sure. Anyway, I think that's it for us this week. We will definitely be recording next week. We will not be recording the following week because Leslie's got to move and some such nonsense.
Yeah, driving 1,000 miles across the country with hopefully one very doped up dog and another totally cool dog, because my kids are.
Yeah.
Oh, Kobe spent the weekend with Laura and totally ate her out of house and home.
I should know that teenage boys eat that much, but I've never had to buy them groceries before. So I actually went grocery shopping again today after going to grocery shopping Friday, because what would normally last me a week lasted us less than 2 days. So there's that.
Okay, we've been blabbering long enough. You guys have a lovely week, and we'll talk to you next week.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.